Listen carefully, because what I am about to say is not just another motivational line. It is the truth most people are too distracted to face. Your mind is under attack every single day. Not by one big enemy, not by one loud disaster, but by thousands of tiny distractions, repeated so often that they start to feel normal. You wake up, reach for your phone, and before your brain has even fully opened its eyes, the world has already entered your mind. Messages, notifications, videos, opinions, noise, chaos, and just like that, your attention is gone. That is the real danger. Because when your attention is weak, your life becomes weak. When your mind is scattered, your decisions become scattered. When your thoughts are controlled by the outside world, your peace disappears from the inside. People do not lose their lives in one dramatic moment. They lose them slowly, quietly, one distraction at a time. And the worst part is this: most people do not even realize it is happening. They think they are simply busy. They think they are tired. They think they are just trying to keep up, but in reality, they are being pulled apart. They scroll when they should be thinking. They react when they should be reflecting. They consume when they should be creating. They compare when they should be building. And then one day, they look around and feel it. The emptiness, the pressure, the frustration, the sense that life is moving faster than they are. Their mind is overloaded, but their progress is slow. Their screen time is high, but their self-control is low. Their distractions are endless, but their direction is unclear. That is why this message matters. Because Stoicism is not just ancient philosophy, it is a warning. It is a way to survive in a world that profits from your distraction. It teaches you how to stay steady when everything around you is trying to shake you. It teaches you how to think clearly when the world is trying to make you think emotionally. It teaches you how to build an unbreakable mind in a world built to break it. And that is exactly what most people need right now. Not more noise, not more motivation, not more fake positivity. They need discipline. They need clarity. They need control over their own mind. Because if you cannot control your attention, you cannot control your day. If you cannot control your day, you cannot control your habits. And if you cannot control your habits, you cannot control your life. That is the problem. People are exhausted, not because they are doing too much that matters, but because they are doing too much that does not. Their energy is leaking into useless places. Their mind is getting weaker every week. Their focus is being stolen in pieces. And the tragedy is that many of them call this normal. It is not normal. A scattered mind is a dangerous mind. A distracted life is a fragile life. A weak inner world cannot survive a strong outer storm. That is why the first step is not success. The first step is not money. The first step is not fame. The first step is mental control. Because once you take back control of your mind, everything else starts to change. Your mornings change. Your choices change. Your reactions change. Your confidence changes. And slowly, without making noise, your life begins to become stronger than it was before. And in the next part, we go straight into the first Stoic habit that can begin that transformation. The first Stoic habit is simple, but it separates the weak mind from the disciplined one. Start your day before the world starts controlling it. Most people wake up and immediately become available to everything except themselves. They open their eyes, reach for the phone, and instantly surrender their attention to messages, news, and noise. Before they have even taken one deep breath, their mind is already under attack. The world speaks first, and their inner voice gets buried. That is not a small mistake. That is the beginning of mental collapse. A Stoic does the opposite. He wakes up and claims his mind before anything else can claim it. He does not begin his day in reaction. He begins it in command. For a few quiet moments, he sits with himself and decides what kind of person he will be today. Not what kind of mood he is in, not what problems are waiting outside, not what chaos the world is preparing. He decides who is in control. And this is where the real power begins. Because when you start your day with intention, You stop moving like a victim of circumstances. You stop letting every notification pull your emotions in a new direction. You stop being dragged by urgency. Instead, you become steady. You become deliberate. You become dangerous in the best possible way, because your mind is no longer easy to shake. But there is a darker truth beneath this habit. Most people are not losing their day because they lack time. They are losing it because they are giving away their first hour carelessly. And the first hour matters more than they think. It is like setting the temperature of the entire day. If you begin with chaos, the rest of the day feels heavier. If you begin with clarity, even difficult tasks feel more manageable. That is why the Stoics trained the morning as if it was sacred. They knew that discipline is not built in the middle of distraction. It is built in quiet, before temptation, before pressure, before the noise of the world starts demanding a response. In that quiet, the mind becomes visible again. You can see your thoughts clearly. You can catch your impulses before they become actions. You can decide what deserves your energy and what does not, and that decision changes everything. Because the person who can govern his morning can begin to govern his life. Now here is the part most people never understand. This habit is not about creating a perfect routine. It is about creating a protected mind. A mind that is not thrown into chaos the second the day begins. A mind that is trained to resist emotional turbulence. A mind that remembers, even briefly, that peace is not found in external things, it is built internally. That is the first victory. Not checking the phone first. Not feeding the mind with noise first. Not letting the outside world define your inner state first. The first victory is this: you wake up, and for a moment, your mind belongs to you. And once that moment exists, everything after it becomes easier to control. Because the truth is simple and brutal. If the world gets your attention first, it gets your life first. But if you get your attention first, you begin to take your life back. In the next part, the pressure gets worse, because the second Stoic habit reveals a mistake almost everyone makes. And once you see it, you will understand why so many people stay stuck for years without knowing why. The second habit is harder, because it asks you to face something most people spend their whole lives avoiding: the truth that not everything deserves your reaction. This is where most minds collapse. One comment, and they explode. One delay, and they panic. One insult, and their entire mood falls apart. One bad outcome, and they start questioning everything. Their emotions get hijacked so quickly that they never even notice they have stopped leading themselves. A Stoic refuses that weakness. He learns to pause before he reacts. He understands that every reaction is a decision, and every uncontrolled decision costs energy. The world will always try to provoke you. People will always test you. Life will always create pressure, but you do not have to answer everything with your emotion. That silence before reaction is power. Because in that silence you remember a key truth: you are not required to become every feeling that passes through you. Anger can appear, but it does not have to rule you. Fear can appear, but it does not have to command you. Doubt can appear, but it does not have to define you. This is the difference between a weak mind and a trained one. A weak mind is possessed by every storm. A trained mind observes the storm and stays standing. And that leads to the third habit: focus only on what is in your control. This habit sounds simple, but it can completely change a person's life. Most suffering comes from trying to control what was never ours to control in the first place. Other people's opinions, other people's choices, the past, the speed of results, the uncertainty of tomorrow. People waste enormous amounts of mental energy fighting battles they can never win. Stoicism cuts that confusion away. It teaches you to separate your life into two things: what you can control and what you cannot. Your actions, control them. Your discipline, control it. Your response, control it. But the rest, let it go. That does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop drowning. And when you stop drowning in things outside your reach, your mind becomes lighter, sharper, and far more dangerous in the right way. You begin to realize that peace is not found by controlling the world. It is found by mastering yourself. Then comes the fourth habit, and this one is brutal. Practice discomfort on purpose. Because comfort, when overfed, makes people soft. It weakens their patience, it weakens their discipline, it weakens their ability to endure pressure. That is why Stoics did not worship comfort. They trained against it. They chose simplicity. They accepted inconvenience. They deliberately reminded themselves that they could survive more than their feelings told them. This is not about suffering for no reason. It is about building proof. Proof that you can endure. Proof that you can stay calm under pressure. Proof that your happiness is not dependent on perfect conditions. The world becomes easier to face when you stop needing it to be gentle, and that is the real transformation happening in this section. These habits are not just advice, they are weapons. They strip away illusion, they expose weakness, they reveal where the mind is still being ruled by fear, habit, and emotional dependence. But there is still more to come. Because once you learn how to pause, how to control your focus, and how to train against comfort, the next habits begin attacking an even deeper enemy, the inner patterns that quietly shape your entire life without you noticing. The fifth habit is the one that separates temporary motivation from real transformation. Train yourself to accept reality before trying to change it. Most people waste enormous energy fighting what has already happened. They wish the past had gone differently. They wish people had behaved differently. They wish life had been fairer, easier, cleaner, simpler. But reality does not bend because we are angry at it. The moment you stop resisting what is already true, your mind becomes stronger. That does not mean you approve of everything. It means you stop bleeding energy on denial. A Stoic looks at reality with clear eyes. No fantasy, no self-pity, no dramatic collapse, just truth. And truth is powerful, because once you accept what is real, you can finally begin to work with it instead of against it. That is where real progress starts. The sixth habit is even more dangerous because it attacks one of the most common weaknesses of the modern mind, the need for constant approval. People shape their lives around how they think others will react. They hesitate, they perform, they dilute their own voice. They trade honesty for acceptance. And slowly, without realizing it, they become strangers to themselves. A Stoic refuses to live that way. He understands that the crowd is not a compass. If you live for applause, you will become fragile. If you live for approval, you will become dependent. If you live for your own principles, you will become steady. That is why Stoicism is so powerful. It gives you a center that does not move every time someone judges you. It gives you a self that does not collapse under opinion. It teaches you to respect your own standards more than public noise. Then comes the seventh habit, and this one cuts deep. Remember that time is your most valuable possession. Most people spend time like it has no value. They give it away in pieces. They waste hours on nothing, then panic when life feels empty. They act as if they will always have more time later, as if the future is guaranteed, as if their attention has no cost. But time is not just passing. It is leaving. Every hour you waste is gone forever. Every day you ignore is never coming back. Every moment you spend in distraction is a moment you do not get to live again. Stoics understood this with terrifying clarity. That is why they lived deliberately. They did not wait for a perfect tomorrow to become serious about their lives. They respected the present because they knew the present was all they truly possessed. And when a person finally feels that truth, something changes. They stop living casually. They stop treating their life like it is disposable. They become more disciplined, more focused, and more aware that every single day is a chance to build something stronger. This is the heart of deep transformation. Not emotional intensity, not one dramatic breakthrough, not a sudden burst of motivation. Real change comes when a person repeatedly chooses truth over illusion, discipline over comfort, and principle over approval. That is when the mind begins to harden in the right way. That is when habits become identity. That is when a person starts becoming difficult to break. And yet, even here, the final habits remain ahead, and they are the ones that decide whether this transformation lasts or disappears. The eighth habit is the one that keeps a Stoic alive when life gets heavy. Learn to detach from outcomes without detaching from effort. This is where many people break. They work hard, but the moment results do not come fast enough, they panic. They become emotional. They start doubting themselves. They begin changing direction too early. They confuse delay with failure and uncertainty with defeat. But a Stoic understands something deeper. Your job is not to control the outcome. Your job is to control the work. That means you give your best, fully and honestly, and then you release what comes next. Not because you stop caring, but because you refuse to let fear poison your effort. That kind of mindset creates endurance. It creates patience. It creates a calm strength that most people never develop because they are too addicted to immediate results. The ninth habit is even harder, because it asks you to face a truth that no one wants to sit with for long. Everything you love, everything you build, and everything you are attached to can be lost. That sounds harsh, but Stoicism was never built to make life softer. It was built to make you stronger than the shock of reality. When you remember that things can change, disappear, or end, you stop living as if they are guaranteed. You become more grateful, you become more present, you become more disciplined. You stop sleeping through your own life. This is not fear, this is clarity. And clarity makes people dangerous in the best way, because they stop wasting time pretending life is endless. They start living with intention. They protect what matters. They stop leaving important things undone. They stop assuming there will always be another chance. Now, the 10th habit is the one that ties everything together. Review yourself every day. A Stoic does not drift through life unconsciously. He examines his actions. He questions his reactions. He asks where he was weak, where he was lazy, where he was driven by emotion instead of reason. Not to shame himself, but to improve himself. Because if you do not review your behavior, you will repeat your mistakes. And if you repeat your mistakes long enough, they become your identity. This final habit is what makes the whole system work. It turns a philosophy into a practice. It turns intention into discipline. It turns a man into someone capable of building an unbreakable mind. And now, the urgency becomes impossible to ignore. Because the longer you live without these habits, the more your mind stays open to chaos. The more your life gets controlled by distraction, reaction, approval, comfort, and fear. The more years pass while you remain mentally undisciplined. And the cruelest part is that most people do not notice the damage until it is already deep. They wake up one day and realize they are tired of being owned by their own impulses, tired of being distracted, tired of feeling weak in the face of pressure, tired of starting over again and again without ever becoming stronger. This is your warning. You do not need a perfect life to begin. You do not need permission to become disciplined. You do not need the world to calm down before you take control of your mind. You need a decision. Because once you decide that your mind will no longer be left unguarded, the entire direction of your life can change. And that change begins not tomorrow, not someday, but in the next choice you make. The question is no longer whether you have heard the truth. The question is whether you will live it. If this message hit you even a little, then do not leave it here as just another video you watched and forgot. Take 1 second right now and make a decision that your future self will thank you for. Because the truth is simple. A weak mind does not become strong by accident. An unbreakable mind is built through daily choices, repeated discipline, and the courage to stay in control when everything around you is trying to pull you apart. If you are serious about becoming stronger, calmer, and harder to break, then this is where it begins. Write down the first Stoic habit you are going to practice today. Start with 1. Master 1. Then move to the next. And if you want more powerful content like this, make sure you subscribe to Silent Power Psychology so you do not miss the next video. This channel is for people who are ready to think deeper, live stronger, and build a mind that can stand through pressure, pain, and chaos. So subscribe now, because the next video is going to go even deeper. Remember this, the world will always try to steal your attention, your peace, and your discipline. But if you learn to master your own mind, you become the kind of person life cannot easily break. And that is the real victory. Not loud, not flashy, not temporary, just unshakable.